Hello geta, talofa lava, taloha ni, namaste, whakalofalahi atu, kia orana, nisabola, and welcome to another episode of Koko Chats, where we have conversations with our people of the Moana about all things money, business, finance, politics, employment and home ownership. I'm your toko and host Dante Fyfe, and today's guest is a young Samoan Mortgage Adviser, Tasmania Sapi. Taz shows us his pathway, immigrating from Samoa as a teenager, navigating the education system in a new culture, working his way up the chain in a factory, and then doing the same in a mortgage advisory business. Taz is an example of the next generation showing us they're hungry to empower and serve our people. Let's get into it. Talofa Taz!
Talofa!
Whaftai lava for joining us here at Koko Chats, beginning of 2026. I don't actually know when this will drop, but I look like I've been on holiday, don't I? Unshaven.
Well deserved break.
Open shirt, look well rested, no more bags under my eyes, I hope. Whaftai lava for coming on Koko Chats, brother. Where we normally like to start is going back in time. And for you, it's not actually that long. Yeah, it's not that long down the line. But I want to go back to know more about your upbringing. I know you immigrated or came over from the coconut trees of Samoa in 2011. But I want to know what it was like. Yeah, exactly. I want to know what it was like growing up over in Sa.
Now, firstly, just want to say thank you for the opportunity to come here and hopefully share a story that will hopefully, inspire people or future generation. It's actually one of the things that I want to do. The way that I live my life is I want to inspire people. So yeah, born and raised in Samoa, full Samoan. The oldest in the family of 6, 4 boys, 2 girls. And grew up in Samoa, did schooling there, did primary school there. Actually went to Maris Brothers School. It was a private school. I may touch a little bit on this later. I don't know how my dad could afford us to put us there. And then I did 1 year of college before we migrated to New Zealand. Yeah.
What did your parents do in Samoa?
My mum was a stay-at-home mum, and my dad was. He worked for when I grew up, he worked for the Ministry of Transportation. He worked for the government.
Wow.
So he had an okay job, but still don't know how he was able to afford to put us in we were from the village. Everyone from the village goes to a public school. It's like 5 minutes walk. We went to town. It's Maris Brothers School, Marisi. It's right in the center of town. And we went to that school.
What village are you guys from?
From my mum's village and my dad's village, from Samatau to Moana Nufuali'i Solo.
Okay.
I grew up in Samatau, then we moved to my dad's village, and then I basically stayed there until we were moved and we migrated to New Zealand.
Okay, cool. And did you, in terms of grandparents and parents, did you have family that owned land, owned property over in Sa?
Yeah.
How was it working? It's all very communal over there, right?
Yeah, it's normal in Samoa that families own land. My mum's family, they own lots of lands, and then my dad's family, my dad's father, he passed away at a young age, so they moved away. So it's almost like they didn't really have land. I think they've got given some land recently, but it's normal back then. You don't really pay for anything for the land. You just gotta have enough money to get sugar, salt, and maybe some food to have a nice meal on Sunday, which is the main feast. Every other day is just rice and koko Samoa.
I like it, bro. I like it. And did your family, did they have businesses, anything like that? Did you have anyone to draw entrepreneurial or business inspiration from?
No, we didn't have. I don't remember anyone having business. My family, my dad grew up in a very probably basic. Poor might be too much for as an explanation. I remember stories he used to tell us that you know, when they grew up, they didn't have electricity where they lived. They didn't even have water. So to get water, you have to walk with buckets closer to the centre of the village, closer to the main road. That's where you get your water from, I'm pretty sure. And so you have to do that every day, carry the water to the house, which is 15 minutes walk inland. So that's definitely, I didn't live that way. That was his upbringing. We were lucky that, you know, even though looking back we didn't have much, but we had water, we had TV, we had, what else did we have? Yeah, we had the basic that he didn't have. So those are the things. For me, I drew inspiration from experience, also people as well. And my dad, my dad really prioritized education. I learned a lot from my dad. He prioritized education, like I mentioned before. He put us in a school that I have no idea how he could able to afford that. I know what the work that he was doing. It wasn't a high up position, but yeah, I don't know how he afforded it. I know my dad is a hustler, so maybe it's some side hustle thing to get us into education. But that's one of the things that my dad taught me. He said this in Samoa. He said, you know, alilelo mafau, alilelo wa onga, whaongalo mafau to look for money. Basically, in English, he said, if you do well in school, then you use your brain to find money. If you don't do well, then you use your muscle to find money. So he's relating it to physical work. And I understood that. I didn't understand. You don't understand it as a young person when you're growing up. But when we moved to New Zealand, he put me in. When you were able to work, I started working at a meat factory, chicken factory. That's when I learned, oh man, this is what he means. Because if you've been there, it's not easy work. You get up in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning, you go there, you stand all day doing the same thing over and over again. Try doing that thing same over and over again. It will actually make, you know, it made me, you know, crazy. I'm like, I do not want to do this for the rest of my life. I could do it, but my parents came here to build a life for us. So for me, as my dad came here to work at factory so that I could have options. They didn't have options. I have options. So for me, as I don't look down on the factory works, but like the jobs and all that sort of stuff. But like, that's how I look at the life here in New Zealand, right? We're growing up, New Zealand is called the land of the milk and honey. Everyone knows that. But when you come over here, where's the milk and honey? All you do is you get running nose. There's no honey. But you know, I've learned early on that it's talking about opportunities, milk and honey. As a young person, you don't know, right? But when you grow up, you're like, oh man, this is what it talks about. This is what the land of the milk and honey. And actually, now that I've lived through all that life, I know what it means. And so that's why what I do today is I want people to experience that, because I've definitely lived that experience. I know what milk and honey is, and what it feels like. And I know it is true. There's opportunities here. So now I want to help people build on that.
No, that's awesome, bro. And that your dad was that foundation of your inspiration and sort of the flow-on effects.
He also taught me some other stuff as well, because in life you don't always learn from the positive things. You learn from, I'm not trying to talk bad about my dad, but like my dad, he wasn't an alcoholic, but when he drinks, he's the baddest person. That's what he thinks in the village. Back home, if you do something bad, you get banned from the village. You get kicked out of the village, right? So my dad, he got kicked out of 2 villages.
Wow.
I do not know of anyone that that has been kicked. I know people that have been kicked out of a village, but not 2 villages. And so for me, he didn't. So for me, I learned from like not what to do. I kind of use. When you have bad emotions and negative emotions, I think you all need the same thing. Sometimes you need a little bit of negative emotion to motivate you. So I need that frustration and that almost kind of hate. I hated that to kind of drive me to do something different. So I don't drink, I don't smoke or anything like that. I'm not trying to say it to make me look like a better person, but I just hated what that does in my upbringing. And so Yeah, I don't do it. I've had a couple of shots, but I don't know if you count that as drinking. But I just hate it. Some people may think it's religious, but partly is. But even my brother, that's 1 year younger than me, we both don't drink, and I think it's because of that experience. So that's what I mean, that I learned drew inspiration from positive and not so positive things growing up that helped molded me.
And what about your mum?
My mum was a stay-at-home, so she would take us to school every day, because like I said, our school was in town. We were young, we can't bus by our own, we didn't have cars, so my mum's responsibility was to take us to school every day. Had some nice lunches as well. Like I said, I don't even know how we could afford those things. But you know, my parents really prioritized education, you know, and that was one of the reasons why we also moved to New Zealand as well.
I think it's interesting you mentioned that your dad came to New Zealand and was working in a factory, but in Samoa he was working for the government.
Yes.
A lot of our people must have to make that sacrifice, and it's a sacrifice of pride as well, really, when you think about it. To go from a government job into a factory must have been very tough, but
it was the norm. When you come here, it's really hard to come there and find a government job here. You got to know someone, right? But here, everyone is working at a factory, so easy to get a job. It's like, hey, can you ask your boss? Can I get a job?
I also
and everyone works there.
Qualifications aren't recognised.
100%, So there's that massive jump, that difference. But they sacrifice for us to come here, and so for me, it's game on. When I get opportunities, the thing about you gotta understand. That's the one thing I was lucky enough growing up in Samoa. I understood the life in Samoa, and so when I moved here to New Zealand, it's different. So understanding what my past was, understanding the sacrifice of my parents. They left there, came here, started from the bottom. That really helped drive me as well. I use that as a motivation, which a lot of people do. Your upbringing, you can use that as a motivation, as a drive to build on the sacrifice that our parents has. I look at it, my parents moved here, they found the place Aotearoa, the land of the long white cloud. They found the land. My job now, I've built a foundation, nice strong foundation, so that my kids can build on. So I've always think about stuff like that. My mindset, which has helped me every day. Why am I here?
How old were you when you came over in 2011?
I was 14. I left Samoa when I was 14. Like I said, I did college there as well, 1 year. Back home, the schooling back home is very different. When I say very different, it's the way, the discipline. They had corporate punishment back in those days. I'm telling you like it's ages ago, but it's not that long ago. But looking back, I'm grateful that I came through that type of discipline, because the way I learned back then is, I remember mathematics. I still remember those classes. You get punished if you don't know your times table. So my thing is, okay, if I don't want to get punished, what do? Learn my times table. Go the next day, do my times table, don't get punished, right? And if you don't want to get punished, you just got to make sure that you're disciplined, you be a good kid, and you won't get punished. So I learned that. I became a good kid, probably because of that, understanding that there will be consequences and that sort of stuff. But the culture shock was when we migrated to New Zealand in terms of teaching as well, or discipline. I remember my first year going to class, and I think a teacher told off one of the kids, the students, and this kid turned around and swore back at the teacher. And bro, in my heart was like, what? I was like, what? Is this normal? Like, man, if this is in Samoa, a different story. But it was different in that way. But for me, I was lucky that I was able to continue the way that I was brought up. So that's why I'm grateful that I spent most of my teen and young upbringing in Samoa. Came here, I was very disciplined. I knew, I was almost like strong in my faith as well. Faith helps me with direction, and then family is more of, gives me meaning. And faith is credit to my nana. She's passed away now last year, and my dad as well, and I'll always be grateful for those people. But yeah, she's taught me a lot of things, you know, to be grateful. So it's almost like one of those, you don't know as a young person, but you look back and you're like, I'm like, man, my nana actually lived with us. She took us to church every day, not every day, every Sunday, but every day she would do, you know, those devotions in the evening. She had a ukulele, she will play her ukulele, will read the Bible, and then she will pray. She is one of those ones, she prays for ages. And then when she finished, we'll be falling asleep. That's how long she prays for. And I'll always be grateful of those upbringings, because that really molded me. So when I came to New Zealand, I knew who I am. I'm Samoan. I'm here because my parents sacrificed for me to get here, and I'm a Christian. These are my values, and that really helped me get me in line in the right path when I was, you know, going to school. You know, it was a different world, but I had a base to build on.
I think you mentioned before, and just then, about how your parents coming here, sacrificing, working in the factory, and you coming from Samoa and realizing, or coming to terms with that sacrifice and being very grateful, and it's driven you. How do you see some of our other young people out there whose parents have done the same, but they haven't taken that and used it as a driving force? I've always found meeting, you know, young people of our people, Pacific people, whose parents have immigrated and brought them over for a better life, and they haven't grasped the bull with two hands, you know.
How much of a sacrifice did the parents did?
Yeah. Is it a personality thing? I've always just thought it's a personality thing. Maybe it's the parents, the way they've managed expectations. I don't know. It's just there's some people just don't grab it.
I've always thought about that as well. I've always thought that people that were born here actually has a way better opportunity to do better than the ones than for myself who migrated from here, because English is a big downside for me. Whereas people who are born here, their English is great, and you need to be good at English, conversating, being able to talk and chat. I was real bad, even now. But going back to your question is, it's more like how are we not grasping that idea?
Well, not all, but there are some.
Yeah, there are some.
Yeah.
I can't really speak, you know, of why that happens, but I go back to what I said. I think it's understanding. I understood the sacrifice, because if you don't understand, I understood those because I also worked that life, and I was lucky because I worked before I finished school. So my dad took me to work before I even finished school, because sometimes you don't understand until you finish school, right? Most kids, some kids, they go to school. When they finish school, it's too late for them to go to work and say, oh my goodness, I should have listened to my teacher. Whereas me, it's like, my dad took me to school when I was 15. I mean, to work when I was 15. That's when you were able to work. And then on, I realized, oh my goodness, I cannot do this for the rest of my life. So went back to school, work out. So I think it's understanding and experience. I don't blame anyone, because our parents, the work that they do takes massive energy out of them. So they don't really have, sometimes having up. I cannot remember having some of the conversation about life, but I remember having those conversations that my dad taught me that, you know, if you don't do well at school, you're gonna use your brain to look for money. If you don't do well at school, then you're gonna use your muscles. He's talking about the physical to find money, and he backed that up by taking me to work, and I'm like, oh, this is what he's talking about. I do not want to do this. So I think it goes back to understanding. If you don't understand, if you've never experienced, then you have no drive to do something, because you haven't felt it. That life is hard. So I think I would encourage every young people out there to go get a job during school, because you actually learn a lot about life. Then it actually teaches you, okay, what do I need to do now if I don't want to I'm not talking down those jobs, you know, those jobs build us, it helps us. But New Zealand is called the land of opportunities. There's so much out there. So school gives us that opportunity to learn something, to then decide what you want to do. I think it's something along those lines. I think a lot of people, young people, may not understand it yet. They will understand later, but then it's almost like too late. But it's never too late, right? You can always change.
It does make me think, I know there's a lot of...
I don't know if it makes sense, but...
No, it does, right? It does. I think there's a lot of our people out there who might hold their kids back from working part-time or whatever so that they can focus on their education. But where you're pointing out is that actually that's not a good thing, because they don't see the reason why I should be focusing on education. That's the link that might be missing. On the other hand, though, we both know and have come across some of our Pacific families where the older kids might have been pulled out of school to work early to help with the bigger families, to help with the bills at home.
I had that experience, but I was lucky enough that I was able to find a night shift job at a countdown where I was still able to go to uni at the time. When I finished school, my parents really needed help, because at the time, one time my dad lost his job. So you need money, right? So the best thing I should do, go find a job to support the family. And I did that. But I worked night shift and still giving me time to go. So I did both. And it was tough, because knowing who I am, like I said, studying is not for me. My English is not that great, and at university level you need to be good. And so for me, reading stuff, I have to read probably 10 times to actually understand. My vocabulary, man, it's not that great.
It's not as bad as you think, though.
But like, it has improved over time. But uni is like almost 10 years ago.
Yeah, true.
10 years ago compared to today, I have improved. But at the time that I needed my vocabulary to be better, I wasn't that good. So
what gave you the confidence to go to university in the first place, coming out of high school?
Going back to my dad, prioritizing education. And for us, Pacifica, we really uphold education as one of the important things we celebrate. And I did okay at school. I think I did okay at school. So I was like, okay, let's go give it a go. I actually didn't have university entrance because on my last year at school, I only did 4 subjects that were university entrance. And you have to pass all 4 to get into uni. All the other subjects were unit standards, they don't count. But I failed calculus. Man, it's hard. It's tough. Calculus. So, but luckily I managed to pick up there was a summer course. I managed to pick up 1 paper, do 2 credits, and I was ready before the uni started. So I was like, yes.
I specifically avoided calculus. 1, because I hated it, and 2, because I was no good at it anyway. I did stats, and that was enough for me.
I hate calculus, and that's why I chose accounting and finance, because it's like a mixture, a little bit of writing, a little bit of numbers. Where it's not like history and law, where it's like all writing, or like engineering, it's like all calculus. So I think that's one of the reasons I specifically chose economics, accounting, and I think economics ended up being almost like a calculus subject or for me, but I loved finance because there was a bit of basic numbers there, and then there was a bit of writing. That's me, that's how I ended up with that path.
Tell me how you found your development, and your journey through university. You went to the University of Canterbury. What was that like? You would have obviously gotten used to the high school, New Zealand high school system, but university is still a lot of still a massive shock for a lot of people in general. Like a lot of Kiwis, non-Pacific, struggle with that change, the sheer independence. You mentioned how there's sort of corporal punishment at high school in Samoa.
Yeah, true.
You get a bit more freedom in high school, but man, do you get some freedom at university. University was, during my university time, I spent 3 years there from 2014, so 15 to 17. I think that's 3 years. It was one of the toughest time of my life, not just education. When I say tough, it's because probably I had too much on.
had university. University is a full-time thing, right? It's not like you go there, muck around, and then pass. No, especially someone like me who vocabulary is not that great, right? I need to be dedicated, I need to give all the time here. And I was involved in the Samoan Student Association. Then I was working at the time, 20 hours a week, but that's a lot. Working night shifts, so
It is a lot,
you finish uni, you go to work at night, and then on top of that, you have church commitment. That's another. So it was too much for me. It was tough for me because of trying to do all those things, but those things as well helped me as well. So going back to your question in terms of how did I find university? It's definitely different, like the freedom, like no one follows up, hey, your son didn't come to school, hey, your son missed his assignment or anything like that. But I treated university, I think looking back now, I treated university like I was going to school. I basically, I was with my wife, who was girlfriend at the time. We basically went to uni from 8 o'clock, finish at 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock. So we go there from the morning. If you don't have a class, you do study. When you finish class, you study until 4 and you go home. So I think that's how I approach uni, and that's how it helped me, because otherwise, some students do uni differently. They'll only just show up, when the classes are on. But for me, I need to show up every day because I know what I needed to, in terms of how much I needed to do to be able to. So I showed up like how I went to school, and I think that actually helped me. I went to every classes, even though you can watch the recording. Some people do that, but I'm like, no, I don't want to be behind. So that was my mentality about uni, is that I would treat it like I was still at high school. And it was tough, like I said, it takes me ages to read something and study something, and then on top of that you have all these commitments. There was even one time I actually I had an exam in the morning, but I also had a shift the night before. I could have called in sick. There was an option there, called in sick or use leave, right? I always have that all these commitments, or I could have maybe quit job or stop going to church and all this stuff, but I always felt that quit is never in my vocabulary. That's probably one of the words that I do not want to be in my realm of thinking, is not to quit. So that night I just sort of it was tough, and I said, man, how do I carry on? So basically then when I finished the shift, I just suck it up. Studied from 1 o'clock, because I start at 9. I'll finish at 1 o'clock at night, get home maybe 1:30 or 2 o'clock. Study from then on until the exam was in the morning.
Nice and fresh.
So for me it was for me it was tough, it was different, but I always have this feeling that the things that drive me is my faith, my family, and my community. Even though those are the things that takes away from our time, takes energy out of us, but when I was in those tough moments, I had this feeling, it almost gave me this energy. I'm like, I'm not gonna let down my family. I'm not gonna let down, my church, my community. I'm gonna persevere. I'm gonna go through. So it's almost like those things also helped me, keep me across the line. Even though it's felt like a heavy load, but it also in a way, it helped, drove me to be like, there's all these people cheering for me, my family, my church members, my nana is always praying for me. I'm not gonna let them down. I'm gonna show up. That was my thinking, and I'm glad that I don't go to uni anymore, man. I'm glad that I'm done. It was just part of the journey that it's had to go through, but it was tough.
I think you mentioned I went from I treated university like I treated high school, and little did you know that you were also treating it like a job, which a lot of university students just do not do. Yeah. What's funny is that I was thinking about your story, and I thought it took me a while to mature as a young man, and it wasn't until my final year that I actually treated it in the way that you were talking about. In the early days, when I got given that freedom, I wasted it. I was an idiot.
You learn from that.
Oh, yeah. I learned the hard way, though. I've learned a lot of things the hard way. But, yeah, what I'm feeling and what I'm hearing is that you've just put hard work all the way through, but it's coming from a place of understanding of your parents' sacrifice and gratitude that was handed down from your grandmother.
No one teaches you how to do uni. You know, you go to uni, you just, I'm going to uni. No one teaches you, okay, this is what you need to do. And I think, like you just mentioned there, it's my upbringing and everything that happened is how I approached uni. So I was glad that I went through that. So now I'm like, I hope that my kids.
Well, you've got 2 kids now. You're about to turn 30. I think you were saying.
Yes.
I do wonder though, bro. You've got 5 younger siblings.
Yeah.
Do you think that they realise and understand in the same way that you have of your parents' sacrifice? They're younger, so they have not necessarily been as conscious of your parents' journey and sacrifice as you have been, being the eldest.
Yeah.
And then they also wouldn't have spent as much time as you have with your grandmother.
Yeah.
Really driving in the gratitude. Have your siblings? Do you feel like? I mean, some of them are quite young. Still at primary school and high school. Yeah. But do you think they are able to see and understand and feel that gratitude?
I think they understand. Two of my brothers are now in Australia. I think they understand about the sacrifice. I don't know. I think they do understand. But for my younger siblings, for me now, the other 2, they are older now. They're old enough to make their own decisions. Whereas me now, as an older sibling, I have a responsibility to my young sisters, and I want to. So, like I was mentioning to you, we're selling our house so that we can move in together. It was not an easy decision, but it was the right decision. I have to thank my wife. For we'll build up this life. We worked hard for it, and now, like I mentioned before, saying no to some of the things allowed us to do that. And then now we're able to take in my mum and my siblings. And so my job now, my dad has passed away. You get emotional about that. And so automatically, the responsibility goes to the older person.
Yes.
And I'm the older person. So that was the idea of, moving my mum into living with us, because I want to give the best opportunity, give the best chance to my sisters. They may not understand it. Like I said, as a young person, you never understand. But I hope that I can teach them so that they can thrive and they can be better than me.
Bro, I think you're the perfect person.
Oh man,
you're built different, bro. This is what I've learnt about you: is you're built different, and your younger siblings. They're obviously born here, right? Because one's 12, one's 13, something like that. 14.
Yeah, they were the only 2 that were born.
Yeah,
All of us were born in Samoa.
So they will
never understand.
Yeah, but I think you're the best person for them to learn off. So for you and Emma to make that decision to bring them under your roof, or have a joint family home. Oh man, they've got a really good chance of understanding and finding that gratitude. Yeah, I think you're the perfect person.
So honestly, for me, it's all we can do now that I'm as a parent. All we can do is to give them the opportunity, give them the experience. When they get to 2018 and all that, they're going to make their own decision. But we should give them the best chance.
Well, you're building, I think what you've had is you've had such a strong foundation of values that hopefully you can help build for yours. Yes,
that's the plan. That's why they came in, so they can come and live like, this is how a family operates. We go to church, when we get angry at each other, we fix the problem. In a relationship, you do get a little bit of tension there, but you fix things and you talk about it. And that's what I want my sisters to. This is what a family looks like. Is that, and it's also good for my kids. They're going to get to live with. That's how I was brought up. Live with family.
And live with
my
grandmother.
Mom,
Their grandmother.
Grandmother. So that's how I was raised, because my nana was. So although there's some, there's always pros and cons, but I will always look at the positive side. My parents, my mum and my sisters, they're going to have a better connection, and with my kids and myself. But then there's also that feeling like we need our own space, but it's okay. We are sacrificing for the future, eh?
Bro, let's talk about home ownership. Now, you came over from Samoa in 2011. 9 years later, you're buying your first home. Tell me about your journey from graduating with a BCom in finance and economics. Must have been those initial stages of work life, in a full-time job.
Yeah.
And then it leads into you buying your first home in 2020.
Ooh.
Let's talk about that journey there, because it was pretty short. 2017 to 2020 is your work life, really. Yeah, 21 to 24.
2018 is when I started working. We bought our house at...
How?
Yeah, that is true.
Teach us.
But I guess it goes back to, start from when I first started working. Because when you first started working, you start doing KiwiSaver, right?
Yeah.
So I'll build up my KiwiSaver then. And then I want to talk about my my work life, because I learned a lot as well from my work life. So I finished a Bachelor of Commerce with majoring in finance and economics. My goal was to go to banking.
Yeah.
That's always because learning from working in the factories, I'm like, I do not want to work here. I want to go work in the office. So I'm like, I'm okay with numbers, and I've got a BCom, so I can go work at the banking. But when I finished, it was really tough for me to get into banking. I didn't know anyone. I applied, didn't even get anything. So what I did, I went and worked for the meatworks. Going back to where I originally told myself I'll never go back there. And so again, going back there, I actually spent 5 years there. I went to meatworks, and I knew the manager because I worked there before during the summer. And we also played basketball. It was really good. Still good now. Still fit, I think. Not as fit, but can still get the buckets in. And so, what was it? I asked for a role, and so any role, I'll do it. In the office, I got a Bachelor of Commerce. And the thing is, I want to say that you don't have to go to uni to get an office job and to get where I am. But for me, I wanted to go to uni knowing who I was. Sometimes, as a Pacifica migrating over here, if you're not good at speaking English, that really sort of makes it harder for you to get a job. But for me, I wanted to go get this piece of paper to prove and show to anyone I can do what that person can do. I have proof. That was one of the things that drove me to go to uni. So I have proof. Couldn't get a job in banking. So I went to Meatworks. I got a job in reception. This is me.
Wow.
Reception was my job, but at the time, I'm not as conversational as I am now, to what I was then. I was still struggling with English. I could not hold a proper conversation. First job, reception. You're the first person everyone sees. First person when everyone calls, you're the first one to greet. So I was basically thrown in the deep end. And again, come back to my mindset, mate. This is not going to kill me. I just got to show up.
I can do it.
I can do it. I was stepping outside of my comfort zone. So did that. Basically, the person trained me. Was only there on Friday. I showed up on Friday. She finished that Friday. Monday, whoo, it's all go, man. So from then on, I think it was probably the best role for me because to excel in these office jobs and all that, you need to be good at conversating. You need to be good at understanding people, treating people, and almost like your job is kind of create the vibe for the day. You got to be, and probably that's how I ended up being who I am today. Always talkative, maybe talk too much sometimes, but I always want to greet that person with positiveness, positivity in the morning. So that helped me because I know who I was. I was not good at English. I was not good at conversation. That actually helped build up my vocabulary. So that's how I am better, a little bit better. Still a lot of room to improve. So receptionist, and then I learned I've been there for 5 years, and I've had 5 roles going there. And so the journey was, I got into reading, personal growth and all these things when I was starting to work. And so opportunities. And so for me, after I did that role for 1 year, and then I asked the boss, I actually applied for the first role I asked to apply for, got declined. then okay.
Which was what?
Payroll.
Hi.
So I was receptionist. And the next one is, okay, I'm not going to get payroll, okay. Accounts payable. I asked, can I do accounts payable? I got accounts payable. And after a year I did accounts payable, I'm like, okay, what else did I need to do? Okay, trades coordinator. I'm not even a tradesperson, you know. I said, can I go do that role? And he said, okay, you've got the skills. Trades coordinator, you don't have to be on tools, but you have to be good at organizing, ordering the supplies in so that the guys can go fix the breakdowns and that sort of stuff. So that was my role, coordinating. And I also learned about leadership because I was basically also one of the leaders in the department. And so
This is all at the Meatworks.
Meatworks.
Yeah, wow.
So this is my third year at the Meatworks, and I already got my third role. And during that time, I actually told the plant manager, because I knew him at that time, I said, I'm going to be a plant manager one day. I said, I want to be a plant manager one day. And so when I told that to him, my brain was also working in my mind, okay, if I'm going to be a plant manager, what are the roles that I need to learn? So that's why I've always asked. But it's not like he gave me, some people may look at, because the plant manager, he handed those to you. But I've proven that where I am today, I've worked for that. And so the next one was asking, and that's the thing, our people, we get shy to ask, but opportunities are not going to come grab you. You have to go grab the opportunities. And about opportunity as well, as Jim Wan, one of the person that I always listen to his talk, he says that opportunity is not something we pursue. Opportunity is something we attract. Well, initially, opportunity is what I kind of went and asked for, but as you get better, opportunity comes and finds you. And I'll explain what I mean. I actually experienced that because throughout the whole time, I was always asking for roles. And then my next role was I became a cadet. I went around the rooms, learned how production works, learned how HR works, learn how purchasing works, and how. So I'm like, I was so happy. It's like, man, this is probably maybe one step from being a plant manager. And then in the end, the HR manager moved on to a different role. And out of all the times, I've always asked for an opportunity to learn. And then they asked me, Taz, do you want to be the HR, take over the HR role?
Wow.
And to me, I was like, that wasn't part of the plan. But this is what I mean. When you level up, when you get better, opportunity will come and find you. But initially, in the beginning, you got to find the opportunity to level up, and then opportunity. So that's what I mean about, opportunity is not something you pursue. Opportunity is something you attract. When you get better, opportunity will come and find you. And so that time, HR was not on the radar. I didn't want to do it, but for me, I did it in a way to give back to those people. I'm always grateful for they've helped me grow. They've given me opportunities. So for me, and it was also an opportunity for me to learn, right? So I did 6 months of HR there. That was my last role. So I've been there for 5 roles, and 5 years, and I did 5 roles.
Wow.
And when I left there, I was a way better person, and that's what I'll always be grateful of the Meatworks. People look at the Meatworks as like, when you tell people I work at the Meatworks, they automatically think you're on the tools. But what I've learned at the Meatworks, you can think of probably almost any role, you can find it in, there's accountants, there's purchasing officer, there's scientists, people working in the lab, there's HR manager, there's production manager, there's so many roles, and that's what our people work in this space. And I think we need to, to not limit ourselves and do what we're comfortable with. We need to challenge ourselves. Meatworks, a lot of our people work in the Meatworks. It's a big organization, and there's so much opportunities in there. And that's what I did. I went there. My first job there when I was working in production, I was a floor boy. When I came back, I said, I want to be a plant manager. Although I didn't achieve that goal, I actually told people about this. I wanted to be a plant manager. I told my wife, I told my close friends. I didn't feel sad that I didn't become a plant manager, but me setting that goal that was way ahead of me actually helped me level up, right? It's like shooting for the stars and hoping that you'll land somewhere. That's exactly what I did. But I left there as a head of HR. Well, I was looking after HR, the production manager and HR the manager, they were helping me out at the time. But I basically left there. I was maybe one position from being plant manager, so I was quite happy with that. Like a fresh boy from Samoa, born and raised there, to come over here and work in a place where a lot of Pacifica people are workers way from floorboy all the way up to being an HR officer or management. Like I basically, to me, I basically achieved what I wanted to. Maybe I didn't get a title, but to me, I I learned to be a leader, because leadership is not about having the titles. Leadership is someone people aspire to be, or like leadership is about taking care of the people around you, and I think I did that. I looked out for the people there, and I tried to create an environment where people, because working at the meatworks, bro, it's like, it's hard work, man. And for me, that's why I always try to be positive. I always try to make people laugh, because you never know how tough it is out there. And so that was the journey in the meatworks. Graduated from there, did 5 years there. I look at it as another university. And that's the thing about life, right? People always look at schooling as education. That's where you learn. But I learned a lot at the meatworks. Like leadership, how you need to do your job. I did a lot of overtime, got paid for it, but it was not the pay that was after. I just
trying to learn.
Wanted to learn, being willing to learn. That's what people look for. It's always like asking to level up. So that's what I learned from the meatworks, and I'll always be grateful for that place.
So you bought your first home while at the meatworks?
Yes.
Yeah, wow.
So 2020 hit, I was still there. I also want to talk about that experience that I had with buying our first home. So we had an okay deposit. Home was definitely our goal with the wife, but I didn't think that it was going to happen around that time. So COVID hit, and it was a perfect time to buy. I didn't think it was a perfect time to buy. We just wanted to buy because there's nothing else to spend your money on. COVID, people had a bit of money, but we only ended up using our KiwiSaver. But when we reach out to someone on online, Facebook, I did. Do you know those people that are always actively on Facebook? Posting content every day, Mortgage Adviser. You reach out to them. I reach out to him, and he said, "Oh, sorry, I'm not available." Then okay, he's not available today. Okay, I'm gonna message him tomorrow. And he said, "Oh, sorry, it's my mum's birthday." And I'm like, "Oh, okay." And I'm like, "No, what? Stuff this guy." Because normally, right, if someone asks you, "Can I talk to you?" You will say, "Sorry, I'm not available today." But can I call you tomorrow? That's what you do, right? I won't name this person. I actually got the conversation, but I won't name him. But that actually, I was pissed off at that. And my wife also was, she was not happy with that. So she went and found a mortgage advisor, and we found Willie. Willie. That's where the inspirational started from. He inspired me with the work that he did, and he got us across the line. We got our first home. So thanks, Willie, for that. Grateful for that, because one of the reasons I'm here, because seeing someone, a Pacifica, I'm like, I can actually do this. I can actually do this. And you know what? If I had that experience that I had with that advisor, imagine how many other Pacifica are out there that are going through the same, messaging these advisors, and they look down at them as like, "Sorry, I'm busy." It's not even, "Sorry, I'm busy, can I talk to you tomorrow?" Sorry, it's like excuses. So that led me to purchasing our first home, and we were lucky because now buying at that time.
What was the market like back then?
Bro, it was perfect time to buy, eh?
I don't want to talk, I don't want to get too personal, but can you at least give me a guide on, how much the house was as a multiplier of your income? Was it 3, 4, 5 times your income?
Oh, I was probably like 5 times.
And this is your joint income with your wife?
That was just my income.
5 times your income?
That's our house.
Wifey comes into it. Is it more like 2.5 times your joint income?
I around like 70k.
Yeah. And wifey...
Or maybe 6 times, because our house was less than 500. Got a 3-bedroom house.
Wow, brand new.
Brand new. And this is at the time.
Rolliston, brand new.
Rolliston. And at the time, if you were buying existing at that time as well, it would be more than buying... So we were...
I don't even want to imagine what it's worth like last year, now, whatever.
No, not much. But
I just know people that have done so well when they bought either, around COVID lockdowns or earlier, how well they've done today because of just the sheer amount of growth that Selwyn has been having. So I'm talking Rolliston, Lincoln, Prebbleton, Darfield. the increases in house prices over the last sort of 5 years has been
It's like one of those times that only comes around maybe 50 years or maybe I don't know 20 years.
I feel like it's a once in a lifetime.
Yeah, it's like in your lifetime opportunity. And I wasn't looking for it. We were just at the time, you know, well, what can we spend our money on? We've got some Kiwi Saver. And I think it was actually the mother-in-law that encouraged us, and maybe you guys should go look and see if you can buy a house at the time. And we were like, okay, we'll give it a go. We were lucky. So lucky at that time.
Awesome. And did that inspire you buying your first home in 2020? Did that well, you got married in 2020 as well, right?
Yeah, got married.
You're just doing it all together in one
It's
year.
another story, eh? Definitely got married. Should I talk about my
well, what I was going to actually ask is, buying your first home in 2020, did that inspire you to become, like, working with Willie as a mortgage advisor? Willie Leota from Fresh Money podcast. Working with him, he's a mortgage advisor still today, Ethos Mortgages. He helping you guys in that journey. Did that inspire you to go from the meatworks and consider mortgage advising that you do today?
Ever since that meeting we had with Willie, I was like, I want to be like this guy. It's like when I went to the meatworks, right? After a year or so, I said to the plant manager, I want to be the plant manager. It's kind of almost the same. When I met Willie, I'm like, because there was a few reasons why I wanted to do that role, and I said, so Willie really inspired me that, you know, he was already in the space, he's already helping Pacifica people, and so going through that process of buying a home really inspired me to get into the work that I do now as a mortgage advisor. But the journey wasn't happening straight away. So we bought our house in 2020. I didn't get a job until 2023. I didn't move until 2020. So this whole time I've been linking up real close. We always chat and talk about stuff. So we're always caught up every now and then.
Also, you both love basketball.
Yeah, we also love basketball, that's right. And so we connected in that way. We have similar way of thinking, and, you know, about our family and then church and then also community. And so at the time I said, okay, I want to do this. But it was really tough to get into the industry because I have no experience. All I had was
you have a qualification,
piece of paper. Qualification doesn't mean you get in straight away. But I messaged him and I said, bro, do you have any roles? This is probably like 3 years in, after we've been just catching up, helping each other talk ideas. And then he said there's a role that is available, and you know, I should apply for it. And then I applied for it, I didn't get it. And then what happened was, this is me, I was like, okay, what I'm going to do, I'm going to message the owner, Nathan McLarney. Message him on LinkedIn. I said, hey, this is me. I've got a PCOM, I've been working here, I've learned so much from the meat industry, but I want to go back to what I initially wanted to do. I want to work in finance. Man, he came back to me the next day and said, are you available this day? Come this day. On that day, man, because I quit my job at the meatworks, had a 3 months to look for a job, and it was like the last month I haven't had a job. Oh no, maybe I should ask for my job back. So, all right, this is the final, and then throughout that time I was been applying for jobs, and I got, you know, didn't get it. And then on this day I had 3 job interviews. I had one in the morning, one in the afternoon, and the third one was with Nathan. I got offered a job on the spot.
Wow.
We had a chat, came in 5:30 after the 3 interviews, and he offered me the job on the spot, and I was so grateful of that. And I started as an admin role, so I took a massive pay cut because I'm moving from a management role to an administration role. It's like a massive pay cut. I had just had my daughter at the time. She was a couple of months.
2023, right?
Yeah, and I quit my job. And so... But
wait, why did you quit your job without having a job lined up? That is the most... Having met you, I just don't feel like that is something that you would normally do. You're very well planned.
No, for me, I'm very well planned, yes, true. For me, I'm always confident when I want something, I will get it.
Right. So you threw yourself in that situation to drive.
Yeah, but also at the same time, it's not like it's like I quit the job. The meatworks were always great for me. The guy, the head of HR and head office will always say, Taz, if you don't find a job, we can happily have you back. But for me, it's like, no, I've made up my mind. I'm going to go. So the last month before I had 3 months because I was, like, normally you have 2 weeks, right? I had 3 months because it was a management role.
Right.
It's a long time. But yeah, that got me into there. So, and when I walked into that interview, I told Nathan, I said, this guy who doesn't have any experience and all that, walking in and had a chat with Nathan, and I said, I want to be a mortgage advisor. I knew what I had in my mind, but I said to him, but I know that you need to work your way through and I said, I'm willing to do whatever. Chuck me in any role, I'm not even going to care about pay. At the time, you know, the pay that I started with was enough for us. So although it was a setback, because when having kids as well, actually, you know, drained your savings and all that. Wife is not working; she's on maternity leave, so our income basically shrank less than a half. Because not only she wasn't in work, because she earned at the time she was earning more than me. And then this guy quit his job, so now the combined income is now less than a half of our income, and we have a kid and we have a mortgage. That was one of the risks that you took, but look at it now.
Yeah. Well, you know, we talk about it a few times on Koko Chats about how people take 2 steps back to take,
100%.
or take 1 step back to take 2 steps forward. And
it's like you're going lower so you can jump higher, right?
Squatting.
It was a pretty risky thing, but it was like calculated risk. Because I knew that if I wasn't gonna make it, I can always go back to the meetings. Hopefully they will happily have me. Hey guys. But that was the plan, and then, man, I think I've landed a dream job. Definitely a dream job, because I've always liked numbers, basic numbers, not calculus numbers, and a bit of writing, and that's basically what mortgage advising is.
Yes.
You do a bit of numbers, bit of writing, bit of understanding to help our clients. So for me, you know, that's the perfect job for me. And early on, I want to mention Mimea Mailopa Papsi. He was one of those people in the community that really helped you. You know, when I first started here, he actually put me, Canterbury, what was the organisation at the time?
Kusa.
No, the Pacifica organisation before Tamata Tumutu. Pacifica Canterbury Trust.
Oh, Pacific Trust Canterbury.
Yeah, so at the time, there was a youth group, and he got me onto there.
Youth advisory group.
Yeah, I had no experience. He pulled me on there, and I'm like, you know that feeling that you're in a space that you feel like you don't belong?
Imposter syndrome.
Yeah, that's the one. I've been trying to find that word. I had that experience. He chucked me in there, and at the time you don't understand why, but at this time, Uncle Popsy, if he tells you to do something, you better do it, right? So like, okay, I'll do it. So that's where I got my heart for serving our people, and he's one of our inspiration from serving our people. He was actually the treasurer at our church. He was at the time as well heavily involved with Kusa. He was our patron.
Yeah, he's the
patron. He was also treasurer at one time there. And he's also, I only realized this when I got into the community, he's on every board.
Yes, he was.
So that's where I got my heart for from serving our community. The reason why I see that, because my role is a combination of my passion and what I love. You know, economics, finance, numbers, what I love doing, and in community, serving. So for me, that's why I said for me it's a perfect role, because my role gives me the opportunity to serve my people, to serve my community, and I'm grateful for people like Mimea, people like yourself as well, man. I know you don't like talking about yourself, but you know, I'm building on the work that you have laid the foundation for. So, and I know that we're going to continue working, and the work that I do, it cannot be done alone by one person. We have to link together, not just us, we have to link with other communities. The only way we can change the statistics is that we work together. And I know some people can be territorial about things, I'm not that. The only way we can change the statistics is that we have to work with each other, work with our people. And that's where I learned that from. So,
well, I think our Pacific people, you know, we bring a different vibe to the financial advisory space, because you're right, in the financial advisory space, you know, which includes mortgages, it can be very territorial, and it can be, you know, dog eat dog, that sort of mentality. But we bring a different vibe because we are Pacific.
Man.
Yeah, well, we're more communal, collaboration, collective, or collectivism. But yeah, Bubsy, I've mentioned Bubsy before, I think, on Koko Chats, has just been pretty much the catalyst to so many different things, and it's awesome to hear that he had such a big influence on your life. I mean, I'm roughly 10 years older than you, and he has had that much of an effect on essentially different generations. You know, may rest in love, but yeah, it's just crazy to hear that part of your story. If we talk about that whole journey with your financial advice. Now, I know a little bit about Nathan's journey. He worked from the bottom and worked his way, and he's one of the very top in the country. Now, I know a bit of your journey in that he's obviously guided you from, you know, well, let's just say in the advisory space, from the bottom to the top. Let's learn a bit more about that, because I know a lot of our young people don't even consider financial advice as a career option. And I know you studied finance and economics, and you know, in your mind when you finished uni, you wanted to be a banker,
or to work anything to do with office and numbers and a little bit of words was banking.
Yes.
Yeah.
But you know, let our young people know, especially, about how do you even become a fully fledged mortgage advisor? Where's the best place to start?
Yeah, because my journey is different from other people. The thing is, you don't have to go to university to become a mortgage advisor. I know some of the people that I work with, they work their way up from being a bank teller. Taveri, he told that story and then work his way up. For me, I had a different road compared to everyone else. Like I said, I got a job, got declined, and then went around and went straight to the boss and said, I want to be a mortgage advisor. Give me a job, give me a chance. You just need one opportunity. And so he built, they have a really good system there with how it works. So we have admin, and we have analysts, and then we have advisors. And the team, the team that Nathan built, starting from himself as a pretty good team. I work with one of the best, in the business of mortgages. So I learned from that hustle. Also the system that he created, I basically learned, everything that I've done. I basically started from the bottom, collecting documents. It's important to know what documents you need to submit to certain banks, certain products. And then I moved on after a year as well. This is me every year, every role. New role. Now this year I'm gonna stay with the current role as an advisor. So admin, understanding documents, and then analyst, analyzing documents, matching documents and the client's financial position, like you're aware of. So basically submitting application and that sort of stuff. So combine those two together helped me with being able to become a mortgage advisor. I know that I'm still learning, and that's important. You always got to be learning. You stop growing when you stop learning. One of the things that I've learned early on, so I'll always be learning. But those are the things that help me. And also doing, I did a lot of overtime. When I got that opportunity, I did a lot of overtime. Sometimes I would probably say I'm a workaholic. The reason why I say that, we are on salary, right? Most people, you do enough. You just do 8 hours, go home, don't worry about it. Me, I do 8 hours. I know, work from 8 to 5. Is that 8 hours, 9 hours? For break in the middle. You go home, spend time with the family from 5 to 8. Put kids to bed. After that, I'll work. And sometimes I'll work until 1 o'clock. And I'm like, wow. People will be thinking, because people receive emails from me, it's like, why are you working at 1 o'clock in the morning? I always tell them, why am I working? But, workaholic. But I wouldn't recommend people to do that. I mean, for me, during the work you need to stand on expectation so that people can continue giving. And that was me. I feel like I never worried about pay, but in a way though, that's how I was able to level up. Because I was doing so much doc collects, I understood. So the amount of work that I was doing is probably double the amount of work that a full-time person would do. But to me, I looked at it in a way, the more I do, the better I am. So that's how I also learned as well. So same when I went for the next role, and being around good mortgage advisors, still learning, helped me be better. I know there's a lot of room to grow, and then also being involved in community stuff now inspires me to get in there and help our people.
Let's talk about tips and tricks.
Tips and tricks.
Our Pacific people, out of probably most ethnicities in this country, have some of the lowest home ownership rates. Māori own more homes, Asians owns more homes, Europeans own more homes.
Filipino.
Yeah. How do we guide and empower our people to get into home ownership? What are some of those tips and tricks? What are the banks looking for?
Yeah.
Where do people start? Budgeting is normally the first step, because a lot of our people will be sitting there with a little bit of debt. That needs to be paid off.
Yeah, so what are the things that we could help to kind of increase and break those barriers, eh? You can help with this one.
Well, let's start with budgeting, bro. You've worked you've worked with clients from the very beginning all the way through now. What is some of the learnings? What's some of the best things that people have done to prepare themselves to start the journey? What have they done to their accounts, for example? The banks only need the last 3 months of statements, so correct. There's a bit of prep that people can do for the leading into that 3 month period.
Yeah, I'll say like half the people that comes through, Pacific people, I don't even need to tell them, we'll wait and apply. Some of them are okay, and especially the ones that are okay, they never thought that they could buy a home. So some of them, they do okay with their account conduct, so those guys are easy, you get them across the line. But the other half where there's account issues, because I have live examples of, there's one guy last year, we started in April, they only bought almost towards the end of last year. The journey was a long time, but that's because after we had a chat and we were going to submit their application, but there was some stuff that they needed to work on, especially around the conduct. I think it's important, just got to do the basic. Make sure you're making your repayments. That's the big thing, loans or whatever you're making, you're paying your rent and that sort of stuff. So if you're making those, then that's great.
And if you're not?
Then then it's up to me how I'm going to explain it to the bank. But it's more of like, if you're not making this payments for this, I don't know, $1,000 loan, how are you going to, to make a payment for a $500,000 loan? So it's all about those disciplines. If you're going to be disciplined in these little things, it's also proving to the bank, okay, he's making his payments. But for the bank's point of view, like, how are you going to make these payments if you can't even afford to? So it's those things, making sure. But our people can afford to make some of those repayments. Maybe they should have not taken on some of those debt that put them in there, but it's more about rearranging their budget, lowering their expectation, or leaving below their means so they can assign the funds to make sure that they cover those repayments. That's the big one that I struggle with for our people is account conduct. But I know a lot of our people have good KiwiSaver.
Yeah.
They just don't know that they can buy, if you have around 30 grand, 40 grand in your KiwiSaver, and it's not just one person, if you combine it with someone else, you can buy a home in Christchurch. Not sure about Auckland, but but you can buy a home somewhere.
Yes.
And it's not about the flashiest home. You just need to get in and buy, and then you're building some equity that, and then you can, like myself, purchase the first home thinking that was my forever home. Now we're selling that house. We're buying a bigger home so that we can bring in my family, my mom, my siblings.
I think a lot of people don't realise. Well,
we can add
I think some people don't realise that the first home's not the forever home, and you've learnt that lesson yourself, and that's when they can then wrap their heads around. Once they realise that, they can wrap their heads around. This is just the first step. Yes, and then I can actually just start with a 3-bedroom, $500,000, $550, something like that,
That's what I
Christchurch,
tell people. It's like you can buy a home. It just means that you may not be able to buy in the area that you want.
Yeah.
But Christchurch is not as big as Auckland. You know, you can still commute 30 minutes from here to there. But people sometimes prefer convenient. But
a lot of times people will also ask about how much debt can I have. It's the total. So they might be, the account conduct looks good, they're making their repayments on time.
yeah.
It sort of fits within their current budget, not the new scenario budget. But they're worrying, how much, is 20 grand all right? Or, is it?
Yeah, it really depends, eh? That's why sometimes it's the first advice I'll give to someone is talk to a mortgage advisor, because not everyone has the same situation. So I've helped clients who had 40 grand debt buy a house.
What sort of debt was it?
Car loans.
Yeah.
Car loans, personal loans,
Right. Wow.
credit cards, afterpay, everything.
Wow.
I've helped people buy a house with that. But they had a different scenario because they had a good deposit and they had good income, so they're able to show that they can afford to manage. Whereas other families, I struggle to get them across the line, or I would say, I have an example at the moment. We decided to wait for a year, need to pay off your loan, 2 loans, and then we should be able to, and it makes things easier for you as well, because when you're paying a mortgage, it's a massive commitment, and you don't want all these little things.
Exactly.
You just want to pay your mortgage and just enjoy home ownership. But when you have all these little things, it just makes it harder for our people. So it really depends, but debt reduces your capacity to buy a house. But there will be people out there thinking that I'm going to wait until I clear my debt. Talk to a mortgage advisor, because you could be able to buy a house. Still having. I actually help a client where I able to get a top up from the bank. They still had more than 20% deposit, but it's all from KiwiSaver. But I had to get a bit more lending. And then I used that lending to pay off all their debt. They have a 20% deposit. They access special rates. Best scenario for them. So now all they have is a house. So these guys, they had debts. But like I said, everyone's scenario is different. So first thing to do is call a mortgage advisor. So that was probably also one of the best one that I worked with, is that they had debt, but because they had really good deposit, like KiwiSaver, because KiwiSaver, you can't use KiwiSaver to pay off these debts. But what I did is increase the deposit so that they can have more, and then manage to top up a bit extra loan from the bank, because they now have good equity to pay off those debts. Now all they have is they're living the dream now, and for our people, it's like they're so grateful.
At the lowest, well, some of the
so it all depends. If you have debt, still talk to us. It doesn't mean that you can't buy a house, but talk to us. We'll come up with a plan, because everyone is different. You may be able to have some funds there that you can use already to pay off some of the debts. Like if you have some savings.
That was going to be my next question around consolidation, because some people will ask, can I bring those debts and put it underneath a new mortgage? And you just gave that example there, but also
it depends if they don't have a 20% deposit.
Depends on the situation.
Consolidate.
And like you said, talk to a mortgage advisor.
100%. There's a lot of us now.
That's good, and we want more.
It's good.
But when you're talking to a mortgage advisor, I think people think that they're paying for your service. Is there a cost or a fee involved with your advice? No,
there's no cost. The people don't pay for our service. We get paid from the bank, commission from the bank, only when the when that lending settles. But even if you do, you meet up with an advisor and not ready until a year later, there's no cost. You can catch up, have a conversation later. So I'll just say, have a chat to someone, have a chat to me, Dante, Willie, all the guys out there. There's actually more of us now, and that's what we're trying to do. That's why I also love working with you, is that everything that we do is about breaking down barriers for our people. Home ownership is achievable, but a lot of our people, it's almost like one of those things that it's not for us. Home ownership is not for us. We don't have money, but we can learn we're here. That's what we're here. That's what our job is. You don't have to know home ownership. We're here to guide people through every step of the way, right? And for our people, a lot of our people, they just come to us, and you have to build that trust. That's important for our people, because a lot of them, they have no idea. They just basically come to you and say, Taz, we want to buy a house. And almost a lot of them, like I mentioned, that they don't really care, how much. They just want to buy a house. And so our job is to guide them through this one. I'm grateful that I have this opportunity to be able to serve them.
And I think also with our Pacific people, English is generally the second language. You've been there.
Yeah.
You know what that feels like.
Yeah.
So that's another good reason why
that language.
They should know that there are Pacific financial mortgage advisors that are out there. Just as we look to wrap up, another question that I find comes through, and it's probably one of the strengths of our people, is can our families, our Pacific families out there, can we buy with more than 2 people on a mortgage application?
Yeah, they can definitely buy more than 2 people, with more than normally, common is 2 applicants or 1 applicant if you can afford it. But for me, if 2 people can afford it, then 2 people can afford it. But there's a way you can work around it that you get help from the family, because some families at the moment are paying like $700, right? But you have other people paying board, so you can always look at maybe 2 people, a couple, and then use the others as flatmates. So for example, if you're currently paying rent at the moment, which is $500, something like maybe $600, let's say $600, and a mortgage is probably you're looking at around $800. That, depending on the house, that may include rates and all that sort of stuff. So if you're already paying $600, you just need that additional $200. You can get someone to, as part of the family, you can be a boarder, which can help contribute. But yeah, for me, you can do 3, people, but I always try to, if you can do it with 1, if you can do it with 2, then that will be the best, because I try to look into the future. If the kids grow up, they want to buy their own house, they don't have to kind of show that they need to service 2 mortgages, because I know some people that are making it hard to buy houses because they now have another mortgage here. But there is ways. Like I said, everyone's scenario is just different. So like I said, if you can buy with 2 people and use the other person as a boarder, then that will be the plan. If you need 3 people, we'll make it 3 people, 4 people. Well, the more deposit, the better, right? Because you get to access the special rates. But yeah, they can definitely buy with 3 people, even 4 people. I haven't tried 5 people, but only 4 people. But you don't need 4 people to buy a house. You need, if 2 people is good enough, 1, maybe even 1. And use the rest to be boarders, because they might have bad account conduct.
True.
So that's the thing. It's like, sometimes you're like, there's this third person that always have like bad account conduct. You can't include them, but you can include them as a boarder and the other 2. So you can't always include everyone, because not everyone, maybe, but some will not have good account conduct. Yes.
Well, whaftai lava, brother. Thank you very much also for coming on to Koko Chats. I've just felt like you're built different, It's been amazing to hear your journey.
Not sure about it.
I feel like you are built different. You're building towards, you're already in a place where you're inspiring a lot of us with your journey. And, a lot of learnings have come out of it. Understanding the sacrifices that our people make to come here, learning about gratitude, having that foundation of values that has set you on your journey to where you are today is amazing. And you've proven heart for your own family, but also for the community as a whole. So, whaftai lava.